both the facets of students and faculty. Probably start with faculty. But like I said, we'd love to hear your views, participants on this webinar. Keep asking questions. I'll moderate Vivek. Vivek, I assume you also have a chat and Q&A open. So as you ask any questions, we'll bring it up to Vivek, who's going to be the, I would say, giving us the masterclass of the day. So once again, good afternoon from Shoolini University. And over to you, Vivek. Vivek is in Chandigarh and I'm in Solan, Himachal Pradesh. Vivek, good afternoon and over to you.
Thank you so much, Atul, for that introduction. It's lovely to be connected like this from far away. And some of them may be in Ropar, I believe, some in Mohali, Chandigarh, wherever you are. Welcome to this session. Thank you, Atul Khosla and Avni Khosla, for putting this together. And actually, Shoolini has been doing a great job with these webinars recently. And we've had superb sessions already by some of the speakers. And yes, I got a message that we are also live on YouTube, so that's perfect. Also, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Bindu Sharma and others, what I'd like to say is that I'm also advisor and visiting professor with Shoolini University. Whenever you get the chance, you must visit the campus. It's a beautiful campus in Solan, off Solan. Of course, I wouldn't advise you to go today or tomorrow because of the lockdown. But once the lockdown is over, please go whenever you can. And we will be talking about stress management, but we'll also talk about a few life skills. First, I'll talk about the faculty members and how they can handle their own stress. And then I'll come to something that you can share with students also later. So we'll take it about 25, 30 minutes in the session. And then we'll have questions and answers for about 15 minutes. So 45 minutes in all should be all right, as discussed. So firstly, let me tell you that I resigned from the IAS, as Atul said. And why did I resign from the IAS? Because I was not stressed out. I was not scared. I had courage in my heart at that time that I can make a match of it or a life of it without being in the IAS. Sometimes when we lose our position, or we lose our possessions, or we lose what we have, or we are shaky, or we are nervous, then we start fearing the worst. I will also speak a little bit of Hindi. So anyone who is not very comfortable with the language in English, I will add Hindi and you'll understand, I'm sure, as we go along. So if we are fearful and if we are nervous and if we are worried all the time, then we cannot take the decisions of life. When I was taking my decision to resign from the IAS, I took 4 years over it because I had already done 21 years when I first started thinking. And after 25, 26 years, I actually quit. So it was a time when I was wondering what I will be doing in the next 10, 15 years in the IAS and what I can do outside the IAS. So I realized that this motivation, this inspiration, this speaking to audiences, especially young people, but also older people, is very important. And because I am an IAS officer, I find it's easier to make people listen to me. They think he must have something to say. So I have something to say and I go there and I say it. And I have many, many recordings on YouTube. This one will also come on YouTube. I'm so glad. And these recordings you can see when you have time. So let's start with the topic of stress management. Where does stress come from, first of all? It doesn't come from external factors. It comes from within. It comes from inside. It comes from our mind. And this mind is playing tricks on us. बार बार हमें ये धकेलता रहता है नेगेटिविटी की तरफ. और आजकल जो माहौल है, अगर हम बात करें आजकल के माहौल की, तो आजकल के माहौल में नेगेटिव होना बहुत आसान है. खासतौर पे क्योंकि हम घर बैठे हुए हैं, हम व्हाट्सएप देखते रहते हैं, हम न्यूज पढ़ते हैं या देखते हैं, और हम जो भी देखते हैं ज्यादातर वो नेगेटिव ही आता है. तो स्ट्रेस्ड आउट होना बहुत एक नेचुरल सी बात है. लेकिन जो मैं आपको इम्पोर्टेंट बात बताना चाह रहा हूँ आज, जो शुरू में ही मैं बता देता हूँ कि 2 टाइप के लोग होते हैं. और वो 2 टाइप के लोग ऐसे होते हैं, एक होते हैं जनरली स्ट्रेस्ड आउट और एक होते हैं जनरली चिल्ड आउट. यानी कि एक होते हैं जो कि बहुत ज्यादा स्ट्रेस फील करते हैं, महसूस करते हैं, और कुछ होते हैं जो बहुत कूल से होते हैं. तो हमें थोड़ा बैलेंस सा रहना जरूरी है. और अगर हमारी आदत बन चुकी है, नाउ वी आर अबाउट 40-45 years old or 30-35 or 50-55, whatever you are already a personality with certain traits, certain habits, certain thought processes, certain negativities and certain positivities. And these negativities and positivities, they keep playing with each other in your mind. Or rather, they keep fighting with each other. So some days you are more negative and some days you are more positive. In the COVID-19 situation which we are in now, there are two types of people again. Those who are very, very optimistic, those who are very, very hopeful, and those who are thinking only negative. Those who are thinking, no, no, this will never be fine. We will always be like this. We will always have to wear masks. There will be so many deaths. There will be this, that. If we focus on this kind of negativity, then our own mind and our brain and our body, they start reflecting the same. If you talk to doctors, they will tell you that your mind actually affects your physical health. And you know it. If you are stressed out because of your own creation of your mind, then that means your body is also suffering. The cells of a body, when studied in analysis on a computer, if a person is smiling and cheerful and laughing, the cells in the body are also that much calm and they appear cheerful in the microscope. But if you see a stressed out person's body cells, they are actually very disturbed and restless. So ये restlessness कहाँ से आती है हमारी, और ये डर कहाँ से आता है? ये हमारी habits, हमारी सोच से आता है, हमारे attitude से आता है. और ये attitude हमारा कहाँ से आता है? ये हमारा एक बहुत सालों से बन जाता है, एक ऐसा हमारी सोच बन जाती है, हमारी पर्सनैलिटी बन जाती है. तो मैं जब बच्चों से बात करता हूँ तो मैं कई बार उनको हंसाने के लिए वैसे भी कहता हूँ कि आपकी क्लास में कोई रोंदू टाइप है? तो वो रोंदू टाइप जो होता है वो एक आधा जरूर होता है हर क्लास में या हर रो में भी होता है. तो अगर उनको हम इस तरह से समझाएं बच्चों को कि वो रोंदू टाइप हमें नहीं बनना है, जो कि हर चीज पे ये ठीक नहीं है, वो ठीक नहीं है, that is not good, this is not good, that is not okay, this is not okay. These are the things which we have to avoid, because what happens is that this crybaby is someone who is always looking at negativity, always looking at something wrong with the system, always looking at something which is not going okay. You see, there's a beautiful room and you can either enjoy that room, or you might find a small black spot on the wall somewhere in a corner. And you might think that this black spot is really very bad. It makes the room look really bad. And there are so many bad things in this world. So you can either see the good side of life or you can see the bad side. So that crybaby in the class, or that crybaby in your colleagues, or that crybaby among the teachers also, or in officers, or in workers, or in a team, can make everybody else also negative. So I often give the example of the Shatabdi Express coach, in which when you're traveling by that train coach, you find one person talking on the phone negatively, and he's the loudest in the coach. He speaks loudly, he speaks negatively, he keeps criticizing his office, his nation, his cricket team, the movies, the food. Everything becomes negative in his mind. And if everything becomes negative in his mind, then he takes it out and he spreads that negative. So what I'm trying to tell you is that stress is a result of your own thinking. It is not so much a result of external factors, but of internal factors. Because the same situation, the same stressful situation, does not lead to the same amount of stress in two different people. Different people react differently. So what do we need to do, even if we are older in life? We need to make a determined effort. Supposing you analyze your mind at the end of the day, how stressed out was I? How bitter was I? How negative or angry was I? At the end of the day, before sleeping, if you spend even 2 minutes analyzing how you were, and you are determined to improve tomorrow, then things will really change for you every day. You'll see yourself changing within a month or even within a week. What about anger? Anger also leads to a lot of stress. And anger leads to stress of the kind that also affects your blood pressure. It really affects your body and mind. And those who are angry, I'm sorry to say, those who are extremely angry people, they are extremely weak people. They are not strong people. I have been in authority I've been deputy commissioner, I've been director, I've been so and so, I've been SDM. I have seen a lot of authority. In that authority, I don't need to add anger. I don't need to add reckless speech or speaking negatively all the time, saying things to people which are acerbic, which hurt, which are critical all the time. I don't need to do that. I am already in authority. I am already powerful. I need to be balanced. I need to be firm, not angry. It is important for us to realize the difference between anger and firmness. Being over controlling, being over authoritative, being over demanding is not going to yield results. I found the most results came when I was able to control my own anger, control my own negativities, and encourage people. But if they were going wrong, if there's something negative happening which you need to correct, then you are firm. You would say that this is not how it should be. This is not how it should be. You are not to do this. You can call that person separate. And that person who is called separately will listen to you a great deal more. I speak on emotional intelligence, and I want to say this point, even though this is a class on stress management and not emotional intelligence. I want to tell you that whenever you say something in front of others, you have to be conscious of who is present. So if you're losing your anger and your temper, you're getting angry and losing your temper in front of someone, then that person who you are getting angry at doesn't mind your anger. He minds who else is present. He doesn't want you to say those things in front of others. So that emotional intelligence you should have. We'll talk about emotional intelligence some other day. But stress management is something which is possible. So what is the stress of a teacher? A teacher is also about work as well as home. And work as well as home means that their work-related stress is brought home, and home-related stress is brought to work. This kind of situation actually leads to a situation where we carry our work home and we carry our home strains to work. That is, of course, we are human. All these things that I'm saying are keeping in view the fact that we are human. But some people are able to handle it better. So if you're able to carry your stress home, but not make others stressed out because of your work-related stress, then that is something which we can do. We can handle it better. We can handle it much better. Yes, I got the messages which are coming on the screen. I have just seen all the messages of recent messages which have come. I'll talk about. I'll talk about that. Yes, Dr. Sharma, I'll talk about it. So I can see the screen. So what we're going to do is to try and work on our mind as to how it can control work-related stress. Today, we are not talking only about this COVID situation and the lockdown phase. We're talking about a larger picture also. If we are the kind of person if we are able to take out that stress within ourselves and not spread it to others, then that is a victory for us. So how do we do it? We go for a long walk, not these days, but otherwise. We do other things which de-stress us. We read, we play, we listen to music, we spend time with children who make us laugh, or people who are good company. If people are negative in your company, then we have to try to improve them, and sometimes we have to try to avoid them. If they are not your immediate family, they are friends who have always been negative, try to maintain a bit of distance from negative people. So stress can be handled in your company if your company is positive, and if your own self-analysis yields you to the fact that you can be more positive. Now I've got a request to talk about how do we handle the lockdown situation and how we balance work and home. The lockdown situation I have been handling in the following ways. So I've been reading more. One of the things I'm doing is to spend more time with books. I have been helping around the house also. It's not like we are all to be doing divided works, but we have to join hands and try and do our own bit for the home. So those ladies who are overworked at home today, these days, and then they also have to de-stress, I really know it's very difficult because your work has increased, your maid is not coming, your other activities have reduced, and you're busy, busy, busy all the time. However, if you get 1 hour to spare every day or 2 hours to spare every day, why not forget that call you were planning to make to that colleague or friend who keeps gossiping or saying negative things and spend some time in meditation or contemplation? If those of you who haven't started meditating can start meditating at this period of time, in this lockdown phase, I think you'll find that the benefit of the lockdown phase is more than whatever you have lost. You have lost 25 days or 30 days, whatever it's going to be, 35 days. But in that period, if you can make 1 or 2 improvements in your personality, you can make 2 or 3 improvements that you were wanting to make but could not make. And one of them is meditation. And meditation comes firstly from practicing calmness. So Paramahansa Yogananda said, be calmly active and actively calm. We have to be active, but we can either be active with a calm mind or we can be active with a negative restlessness. So whether you are at home or you are at work, we have to work on the calmness of our. There are people who appear to be very, very calm and people who appear to be very, very restless. We need to be at least balanced. We cannot be superhuman calm. We cannot be calm all the time. 10%, 5% of the time we will lose our cool. But do we have to be stressed out and negative 90% of the time? We can reduce it to 50%, 30%, 20%, 10% by working hard. So how do we do it? One of the ways is meditation. My practice of meditation is Kriya Yoga. I follow Paramahansa Yogananda's teachings, and Shoolini University has a great Yogananda library. The autobiography of a yogi, the book which I have read a few times, many times, and which is also one of the greatest books of all time. In fact, I have a copy here, and it's lying here. If you have seen this cover somewhere and you have heard about this book, please see this book and read it whenever you can. And that book is also available in digital form. If you start reading such books, if you start balancing your time like that, and if you start also starting Kriya Yoga or even the simple practice of breathing technique. In fact, I know we are online, but let us do this simple technique for 30 seconds, all of you. I am going to make you do a short meditation of 30 to 45 seconds. So what I request you to do before your computer screen or phone screen, just sit quietly with your spine straight. I know you're sitting quietly, but just with your spine straight and your chin parallel to the ground. Chin parallel to the ground and your spine straight, and your focus can be between the eyebrows. That means your concentration can be between the eyebrows, or at least your eyes are turned towards that point within while your eyes are closed. And start noticing your breath at the same time. Your breath is coming in, your breath is coming out. Your breath is coming in, it's going out. And don't control the breath. So let us do this short, simple meditation for 30 seconds only. I'll just keep speaking a little bit in the middle so that the video maintains its consistency. But you meditate starting from now. Please close your eyes and start. So while you're doing this, don't control your breath. Let the breath flow naturally. It is as if you're watching a baby sleeping and the baby's breath is going up and down. You can see the stomach of the baby. Just like that, you're watching your breath as an outsider. Just 5 or 10 seconds more. Right. Now, this is a very simple meditation technique, and many of you know it. I know you know it, but many of you may have done it for the first time. So what you need to do is to do this for about 10 minutes in the morning or 10 minutes in the evening or both morning and evening. If you can do both morning and evening, and sometimes just after lunch or just after whatever you are doing, if you can do it for 2 minutes also, it really helps. What happens as a result of this short meditation is that the breath becomes calm. If we are breathing hard, the breath quietens down naturally. And your mind also becomes calm. Even if thoughts are coming while you're watching your breath, the mind actually starts becoming calm. And if you find that thoughts are coming, it's okay. You're human, thoughts will come. The most difficult thing in the world is to control your thoughts. So don't try that too much. Just keep noticing your breath. If you forget, come back when you remember. So this kind of technique, if you practice, if you read some online meditation techniques, then you will find gradually that you are able to really, we'll take some questions at the end. We are going to finish in about 5 or 7 minutes. I'll finish my talk and then we can start taking a Q&A, maybe in about 5 minutes. So what I'm also saying is that I have 8 C's for you. Although normally I give 7 C's, but I've added one. So I'm going to give you 8 C's, which you can note down if you like. And these 8 C's are not only for you, they are also for your students, for your children, for your family members. If you feel that these 8 C's are helpful to you, then please adopt them. All of us have different levels of consistency in these qualities, which I'm going to tell you. And these qualities are not possible for anyone to perfect. But we can be better than we are now. So I'm going to give you the 8 qualities. The first one is courage. Courage. Courage ka matlab hai fearlessness. That we are not scared. Of course, we are a little bit scared because we are human. What might happen tomorrow? What might happen day after tomorrow? What might not happen tomorrow? So the thing is that we have to increase our courage. And students especially, you can tell them confidence is not even half of courage. Courage means that you have faith on your own ability and you have fearlessness. Confidence and all, they come within that. The second one is character. Character means that you are basically, especially tell your students, when nobody is watching, then also you do the right thing. That is character. When nobody is watching, then you do the right thing. That is character. Character can be developed. Character can be maintained. At times, because we are human, we wanted to have one chocolate, but we were dishonest with ourselves. We picked up another chocolate, and then we lose our character in that process because we had decided. But doesn't matter. We will fail at times. We will even say wrong things at times. We don't criticize ourselves, but we try to. The third C is calmness. We already talked about calmness. We have to be actively calm and calmly act. So we keep on maintaining our calmness despite whatever situation comes. The fourth C is creativity. Creativity makes us a complete personality. Creativity makes us an all-round personality. And creative people are less stressed out also. Because creativity is de-stressing. When you are painting, when you are singing, when you are taking photographs, when you are playing something, you are writing, you are de-stressed. Because your mind has an outlet. Your mind is able to give an outlet, is able to relax because something is letting off steam in a way. So music, art, writing, reading, those of you who can write poetry must do so, must sing if you can, and anyone can do one thing at least. The next is actually cheerfulness. And cheerfulness is something which is a habit. Cheerful people are people who are smiling most of the time. Sometimes they're not. But they are generally people who others like to talk. Cheerful people are popular, they have goodwill. So if we are a cheerful person, instead of being a cribbing kind of person, negative kind of person, crybaby kind of person, it is better to be a cheerful person. And despite obstacles, everybody has obstacles. Everybody has bumps in life. There's nobody with a smooth life, but it's how you take it. So that's the next C. The next C after that is contentment. Contentment means that we are content with what we have. That means that we have gratitude in our minds and hearts. We are thankful for what we have. We have a family, we have a job, we have a career, we have food to eat, we have people to talk to, we are generally happy in life. Why do we look at the negatives? As I give you the example of a beautiful room, instead of looking at the one black spot that the room has, look at the room itself. Look at the beauty of the world, of nature, of what we have. And of course, the skies have cleared up so much nowadays. There are so many good things happening, even while the crisis is on. So look at the nice, good side of life. Cheerful contentment. And the next is compassion. Compassion means that we think more of others. We have more empathy for others. We start talking to others as if they really matter to us. We care for others. These are things which also matter. And we teach our children also to start looking for ways in which they can help society through an NGO, through writing, through talking about people, through teaching them, through creative activities. And the last one I'd like to say, which I've added to this list, although it's a life skill and a career skill, is communication. That means C for communication, which means you are a perfect communicator. You're not holding things in your heart. You are actually letting them out. You are communicating well. And that is another way in which to do it. So these are the 8 C's. Please remember them. Please keep them close to you. See if you are getting better at them. No one can be perfect. So thank you for listening to me. I think Atul is on for the Q&A and I'm on as well. So enjoyed talking to you. And here I am for your question.
So we'll request questions from the participants. You can either do it on the chat mode or the Q&A mode. So all of you, please help it. There's no good question or bad question. I think I'm sure you ask your students exactly the same. But I have a question before I just warm up the discussion a little bit. So all of this is really good, Vivek, what you spoke about. But typically, you know, when you get into the hustle and bustle of life, you've got pressure, you've got your classes to be done, and you know, everyone must be doing their lectures or their classes over Zoom. Sometimes technology doesn't work. There's pressure from the principal, there's pressure from students, there's pressure from your dog, or there's pressure from the kids, pulling a sari or your suit or your chunni. How do I practically sort of manage all of that, right? I mean, it just creates stress. Then there's stress of living in a small place. There's stress of living in a 1,000 to 2,000 square feet apartment or a small house. Then there's stress of my future. Stress of will I have my job after 6 months? What's going to happen? Then there's stress of even getting my salary. Am I going to get my salary or not? How do I get my vegetables on time? So practically, how do I declutter myself? And that's the question I have, you, Vivek. And that's sort of what everyone asks, whatever question they have in their mind. That's something on my mind because that's what I face every day.
Absolutely, I realize that, and that's why I said that we're all human. We are living in a human situation. It's not a perfect world. We cannot have a perfect situation where everybody is totally stress-free, but we can reduce that stress. And the same people in the same situation will not react the same way. So we have to see that we are not worse off than most of the world. We are better off than most of the world. There are so many people out there who are in poverty, disease, illness, violence, and we are still better off. So when we start thanking stars for what we have, and then we are going to get irritated at times, we are going to feel stressed out about our job at times, or about what somebody said, or about the fact that this is not available or that is not available, or even the power goes or the channel is not coming. Little things also irritate us at times. But that habit of irritability, or just for the sake of being feeling negative, that has to go. And if that goes, then we only feel stressed out and worried at things which genuinely deserve our worry. So we try and improve that way. We cannot be perfect, but we try. More questions? I think you got lots of questions on the chat.
I've got lots of highs for sure. There's a question we have here, which someone is asking that, I start crying when I'm in stress, but I don't want to be in such situations. What can I do?
Yeah, so I'm not a psychologist, but I have enough experience to tell you that crying is good for you. And crying too often is obviously not that great, or in front of others, it may not be that useful. If you are crying every day, or if you're crying once a week, then it's probably too much. So you have to see what is really stressing your It's not the crying that is the problem. The problem is what is within you, that earthquake or that upheaval that is taking place within your mind. That is something which needs to be reduced. So how you are responding to stressful situations is something that you need to think of. Maybe 5 things are stressing you out and you're crying as a result. Out of those, maybe 3 of them don't really matter. So one by one, start eliminating them. That this thing, next time I'm not going to feel so bad about it. Let me ignore it. Let me reduce it. That's the only way you can
was
gradually.
asking a very good question, Vivek, and I would also like to put my 2 cents after you've given yours, your opinion. So she's asking and saying that should it be more of studies or life skills during the lockdown period? And how can technology prove to be a tool in this period? So would love to hear from you, and I have some thoughts which I'd love to share.
I think it should be more about life skills in this period, and technology is definitely going to help us. We can watch so many kinds of videos. We can read so many things which we couldn't read earlier through the internet now. You can search that particular topic which you wanted to. You wanted to learn the guitar or you wanted to learn the basics of French. This is the time to learn that. I think life skills are very important, and studies also. Atul, please add.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is a phenomenal time, and I'll give an example of what we're trying to do in the word Shoolini. We have so many friends around across the world who we wanted to come and speak at Shoolini. For example, let's think about this webinar that Vivek is holding for us. But it's been impossible to get them physically onto campus, and we want our students to listen to these wonderful people. So we actually started a series of webinars every day, 11:30 a.m. We go live with some exceptional person. As an example, today we had a session on Ramayana, about the Valmiki Ramayana, which a friend of mine took. On Saturday, we spoke about Bollywood music and the evolution of that. Point I'm trying to make is that A, we need to have a balance. We don't want our students to be studying all the time. At least that's what we're doing with our university students. We want them to explore beyond studies into their self. And the good news is we can actually reach out to people who otherwise would have found it very, very difficult to come down to our school or college. An example will be the director of Sankhyank, Tushar Hinandani, speaking again on our webinar at 11:30 on Friday. Impossible to get him, but he is because of technology. And he's promised that Tapsi Pannu will also come on live. I'm not saying that Tapsi is anywhere better than you, Vivek, but there is a star power. There is something that we aspire to be in front of. So the point I'm trying to make over here, teachers, is that you can bring in exceptional people in front of students. Sometimes try that, experiment that. And I'll also send you guys a link about the webinars that we are doing. Some of these might be interesting to you as teachers or to your students. And let's make that happen. So those are my 2 cents. And I think the next question that I have for Babita is that he's saying, how can we balance or control insanity of being social when it starts affecting ourselves, being into practicing or meditation already?
Insanity of being social.
I think probably Babita, you can be a little more articulate. Can you read the question? I'm a little struggling with the question, Vivek. She's saying, how can we control insanity? Probably she's talking about social distance, right?
I see a question which says, I lose my temper easily on small things. I can't see this insanity one, but I'll just generally talk about both the topics. So basically, as I said, the battle of life is fought inside our mind. And when we get up in the morning, do we get up with negativity or positivity? Normally, people are enthusiastic in the morning. I want to do this, I want to do that today. By 11 o'clock, things have started, cluttering up and negatives come. Somebody has said something, or breakfast was sometimes an argumentative kind of period where everybody's in a hurry. So therefore, things start piling up. So it is our reaction which matters, because these things will keep happening. And losing temper is something which is in our control. Nobody else can control it. And if your blood pressure is high, and then you are losing temper and it's going higher.
We lost your voice again, Vivek.
Which I told you is the only answer to such problems. So meditation twice a day, 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening. Start with that.
I mean, I'm sorry, I'm going to add to this because Vivek has always been my mentor, and I lose my temper left, right, center, or I used to. So I'm practicing a lot of yoga nowadays. I suddenly got the opportunity to do that because a typical working day, I was so stretched. So I would strongly encourage all of you to find a guru, start doing yoga classes. We've got some videos made for yoga, so again, Bindu will send them over to you, circulate it to your faculty. I think these are good old things that we all know, but never did those. So it's an opportunity for us to just go back, go to the basics, and start doing meditation and yoga. So one interesting question from Bindu to you, Vivek. She's asking, how do we combat the fear and how do we deal with the fear of COVID-19? There's fear everywhere.
Yes, so this is basically a very important question because, as I said, COVID is scaring everybody. But if you look at mankind, we have combated things as big as this before. It's because we are such a connected world that the whole world is locked down. If there was no internet, then perhaps half the world would not have been locked down at this time. If there was no air travel, then this disease would not have spread to all these countries. So there are so many things which we have combated in the past, and this will also be over. But how do we change? So I was lucky enough to write an article yesterday in the Hindustan Times saying that humanity has to upgrade itself. So if we start upgrading ourselves, then then we make the change. So in this period, when you will not get this chance again, please work on your mind and yourselves and your habits and your creativity. And regarding the temper part, I think it is make a list of things that make you angry and try and eliminate the bottom two, which are ye table dirty hai, there's somebody who's getting late. These are things which should not make you angry because these are things which don't really matter in the bigger picture. Yes, if somebody has let you down in a relationship, or if somebody has cheated in an exam, or something has happened in your school which is serious, you will lose your temper. That is normal. But if it happens too frequently, then try and eliminate those small things.
So Babita has a question which I'm struggling to, or it's a comment. She says that insanity here, I mean, is being over empathetic many times. Is that good or bad? I think that's probably what she's asking.
Over empathetic?
Yeah. Is that
Okay,
a
I understand. So basically, what you are trying to say is that you are probably not spending enough time on yourself. Your empathy is so much that you are listening to people too much. You are probably caring for what others think and say too much, and you're not really living your own life, but entirely for others. So basically, you have to realize that you are your own best friend, and your mind is also your own best enemy, worst enemy. So you really have to work hard on yourself and try and work on yourself for a while, at least 1 hour a day spend with yourself. Don't be talking to others all the time. Spend time reading before sleeping. Sometimes what I do, and this is also a practice, before meditating in the morning, I just get up in the morning and start reading something. Even though I'm groggy, half sleepy, can't even see the page properly, but then you start opening up and you start reading the best things in the world, spiritual books or something, then it really, really improves. So I think your life will improve if you start with meditation and positive thoughts in the morning, and then close also in the end of the day in a similar way. Yeah, now I think the sound is okay. Yeah. So more questions?
I was just thinking, Vivek, you as deputy commissioner, as an IS officer, as a director in the government, you've been through lots of, I would assume, lots and lots of stressful times, right? How do you compare COVID with some of your most difficult situations that you've been in?
Yeah, so I know that you see even the smallest of occupations can have stress. A clerk at a ticket window. If he's sitting at the ticket window, there is a queue over there, and it's a stressful situation. Sometimes people are not patient enough, or they're in a tearing hurry. That person will be stressed out, and so will be the queue. So what we have to do as an IAS officer is a little different, but the stress levels can be the same. So my thing was always that we have to prioritize, give more time to things which matter, and not worry too much about things which in the 80-20 rule, which the Pareto principle, as you know, Atul, I'll just briefly explain. Do those 20% things first, which make 80% of the difference. So focus on the priorities, focus on what is important, and then you'll be able to make more of an impact and less negativities.
So I guess we got time for one last question. I think there's some audio challenge, so I'll put myself on mute after this. And the question really is from Bindu. She says, how do we engage the youth, which is the Generation Z, during this crucial time? Are there things we can do as mentors, as teachers, as friends to make them, I would assume she's asking, more empathetic to the situation, less aggressive, etc.?
Yes, so the youth is obviously the citizens of tomorrow, and they are people who are prone to anger a little more. Teenagers or early 20s can be very impatient, and patience is a virtue which doesn't come very easily. So I think, is my voice clear? Just tell me if my voice is clear, somebody. I think my voice is clear, but Atul's voice was breaking. Okay, okay, thank you. Atul, thank you. So what I was saying was that the youth is amenable more to counsel from people who are understanding of them. So unki baat suniye, spend time listening to their ills, their fears, their negativities, and if you listen to them, communication channels are open. You know, parents and children also, they don't communicate much these days. And one family I knew, the daughter locked herself up in the room for 2 days and communicated only on WhatsApp. The food would go through the window, and it is tough if communication breaks. So maintain communication, get the youth into creativity, and once the lockdown ends, make sure that the youth is playing outdoors, because 1 hour of outdoor sports means that you sleep on time, and you will be physically tired enough to sleep on time. Then you don't spend time on social media. And if you reduce social media, you cannot eliminate social media. It is useful also. You can reduce it and balance your life. If you give them 10 things to do in a day, except instead of only 1 or 2, that should be right. So I think we've had a lovely session. Thank you very much for being here. Atul is going to close.
Okay, I was having a voice problem, so I think I'm going to pass it over to you to close, Vivek. I'm sorry, there seems to be some voice challenges at my end. Would love you to summarize, Vivek, and close the discussion.
Okay, so I'll summarize that. Please follow the 8 C's which I mentioned. I won't go through them again. You already know them. I also feel that you have to win the battle of the mind. Of course, we are human and we will have fears, worries, negativities at times, but reduce the percentage. Reduce the percentage of negative thoughts and spend time in good company. And it is never too late to improve yourself. That is the main thing. Never too late. Be creative, be positive, and be happy. Thank you very much.